Plenty of news to come out of Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman's Monday press conference. Jack Sobel was in the building. We're going to talk about the key headlines from the press conference, including a tidbit on the transfer quarterback situation. Please go ahead and hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our content. And of course, go to blueandgold.com for more coverage of what we're going to talk about today, as well as much other notable insights and tidbits and whatnot from the presser. So the biggest thing was that he confirmed that Notre Dame will be going to the portal to fill a fourth roster scholarship spot at the position. Jack, before I kind of give my thoughts on this, just kind of recap what Freeman had to say. What were some of those key points?
He was asked first about Steve Angeli and Kenny Minchey. He said that he has confidence in both of them. He doesn't. He pretty much said he doesn't need to see anything more from them this season that would tell him, that would give him more confidence in them, or would tell him otherwise. I think you've seen them in practice all season. You've seen Angeli in a healthy amount of game action, I think, for a backup quarterback at this point. Minchey in very limited game action, but he has confidence in both of them. He could see a vision where either of them are leading this Notre Dame program next season. But you're right, Mike. He did say Notre Dame will bring in a fourth quarterback in the transfer portal this offseason. The bottom line is that Freeman feels more comfortable with 4 scholarship quarterbacks than he does with 3. And understandably so. If one leaves, another gets hurt, you're down to 2, and then all of a sudden you're in a precarious situation. But he did not say that he's bringing in a quarterback to start, but he also didn't say he's not doing that. Yeah. So I think it's just a matter of waiting to see who is available in the portal. I'm sure they have a decent idea of who could be. Freeman said that with quarterbacks and with any position, they do some scouting work during the season to see, would this guy be a fit for us on the field? If he's available, how interested would we be? So they should have a good idea of who might be available, who they might want to target. But as far as who will actually enter the portal, you never know. And that'll be a conversation for after the Stanford game.
Yeah. So quote, Freeman said, "We will look to add a fourth quarterback on scholarship. Who that is to be determined. We'll look in the portal. We'll look when the portal opens, different ways to fill that fourth quarterback scholarship. Different ways to fill that. I was like, that was kind of interesting. He said we do want to be in position to have 4 scholarship quarterbacks. Jack, for me, it's like I've said this on this video, and I've said this in our shows with Tim Hyde and Goolsby and everything. Like, I don't really buy that it has to be about 4 quarterbacks. To me, it's about improving the roster. I think that's just like a good way to say to your current quarterbacks, like, hey, we're bringing in scholarship quarterbacks just because we need to get to 4, not because of any lack of belief in you guys. But I mean, why do you need 4? I mean, you really just need 3, in my opinion. So I think it's really to improve the room because of a lack of experience, but also how can those guys get experience unless they play? It's like applying for a job. Or an entry-level job that requires job experience. Well, how are you supposed to get job experience if this is an entry-level job? Like, it's kind of one of those things, Jack. So I'm fascinated by this. Who Notre Dame goes and gets in the portal. Do any of the young quarterbacks leave, like an Angeli or a Minchey? I don't think so. I think they're both going to stay. So totally fascinating. And I do think, I mean, unless there is like a Sam Hartman quarterback that's like, okay, if he comes to Notre Dame, he's a guaranteed starter. Like that kind of caliber, I think that Notre Dame will have a true open competition to let Angeli, Minchey, heck, even CJ Carr battle for that. So anything else you want to add on quarterback before we move on?
No, I'd say I agree with you that, like, not based on any inside information here, but I would say the most likely outcome is Notre Dame brings in a quarterback with starting experience, tells him that we're going to have you compete for the job with these 2 or 3 young quarterbacks, depending on how CJ Carr looks in the spring, and may the best man win. And I think that's probably the most healthy thing for Notre Dame to do for the quarterback room. It gives you at least, if you bring in a transfer, you at least have a baseline for knowing what you're getting. You're not putting all your eggs in the basket of a Steve Angeli who has limited experience, or of a Kenny Minchey who has almost no experience at all, or CJ Carr who's just coming in his first season of college football. So I think this is this is a smart move, and who they get, it just depends on who's in there.
All right, Jack, we're going to run through some injury updates. The receiver position, we got a lot there. Just so again, we're just kind of run through these. Deion Colsey, still TBD, Jack.
Yeah, still TBD. Freeman did say that the idea of redshirting him won't factor into the decision of whether to bring him back. When he's healthy, he'll play. It just depends on when that is.
So Jaden Thomas was one of those deals where Notre Dame puts out everyone who was on the depth chart is healthy to play. And then, of course, that always means that there's going to be a scratch because you can't trust that tweet anymore. Jaden Thomas was that for the Clemson game.
Yeah, Jaden Thomas, they just didn't feel like he was healthy enough with again, still that hamstring. They just didn't feel like he was able to help them against Clemson. They're just evaluating it week to week. They think he's going to come back and play, but how much and how effective he'll be, they don't know. It's been a rough season for Jaden Thomas. Obviously, the situation out of his control with that hamstring. These hamstring injuries really just don't go away.
And a name we haven't talked about in a while, Matt Salerno could come back.
Yeah, Matt Salerno. We saw him before the Clemson game doing a little bit of light route running, some jogging. Didn't have a boot on. I don't think he had a brace on. He was just in the same warm up clothes as everyone else. Freeman said that they anticipate Salerno coming back at some point this season. Again, when that is, they don't know. But he's doing a little bit more in practice, and they do expect him to be back at the latest for the bowl game.
So more injury updates. A walk-on safety and special teamer Luke Talich broke his collarbone, and he's going to be out for the year. Rocco Spindler, this is tough. Knee injury, surgery this week, out for the season. Zeke Correll, so Notre Dame losing a starter in Rocco Spindler for the year. Zeke Correll's in concussion protocol currently and is questionable for Saturday. So, Jack, the plan on the offensive line, Freeman essentially said if we play today, it would be Billy at right guard, Ashton Craig at center. Kristofic is also TBD with a high ankle sprain. So we'll kind of see on Kristofic and Zeke, Jack.
Yeah, we'll see. And Freeman, for what it's worth, also didn't say whether or not it would be Kristofic or Billy Schrouth at right guard if Kristofic is able to play, and as is Correll. If Kristofic is going to play and Correll is not, it's going to be Kristofic at center, Kristofic at center, Schrouth at right guard. You would think if neither able to play, like Freeman said, it would be Ashton Craig at center, who the consensus was that he did a pretty good job. I think PFF liked what it saw out of Craig in limited action as well. And then Billy Schrouth in there at right guard. So yeah, a big injury pile up on the interior offensive line. Not what you want to see for Notre Dame.
I wanted to add, Jack, one more thing before we sign off. The whole senior day, like who runs out, I think we have a lot of overreaction to this sometimes. So Freeman kind of gave his thoughts on, like, if someone runs out, that does not mean that they're not coming back. He had basically said that guys who run on senior day are ones who like have that option to go or to come back. I think it's like 31 guys or something like that. Some of them, like Sam Hartman, can't come back, but for the ones who could, whether it's, hey, I want to go to the pros or transfer out or just end my football career, he said that there's not decisions made on those guys yet, but they're going to go ahead and run. But again, that's not to say that they won't come back next year. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there for your information Saturday. Yeah,
the day that no one has a COVID year, Mike, and this becomes a lot simpler, is going to be a great one for everyone involved.
We're coming back to that soon. Should be soon, right?
I think pretty soon. Maybe not as soon as you would think, but should be pretty soon. And anyway,
yeah.
Freeman said that he had discussions with everyone who has that option to come back or could go to the NFL, grad transfer potentially, or just ending the football career. Freeman said they had meetings this week. They really just went over the facts. There was no lobbying from Freeman on whether or not he wanted them to come back. It was just like, here's what we've been hearing regarding your draft grade. Here's what we think your role could be here next year. There's a lot of factors, and that's basically just what Freeman was meeting with them about. He hasn't gotten really clear answers and decisions on any of them, but every senior graduate student will walk on senior day.
Yeah, he said that they would figure that out after the Stanford game. So TBD on that. Folks, appreciate your watching. Hit that thumbs up, of course, before you get out of here. And as always, we will catch you guys next time.